Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for the project that I've planned this week. It's a project that I've really wanted to do for myself for a little while. It's a little bit of a personal project, but it's really fun to watch. And it's a really cool thing that I've created. My partner Colin and I have been collecting old video game systems for the past year or so. We both grew up playing lots of video games, and our collection we've combined together. And now we've just kind of been seeking out and picking up games that we grew up with and gaming systems that we grew up with and don't have anymore because siblings. And so one of the things I've been collecting this past little bit is some old Game Boys. I really have always loved handheld games. And one of the things that I kind of lost growing up was my Game Boy Color. So I've bought a Game Boy Color on Facebook Marketplace in plans to paint and customize it for display. I wasn't too concerned about whether or not it worked. I was just kind of going for a cheaper one. It actually did work in the end, which is really awesome. But it's really cool. It's not the color I had growing up. I had a lime green one. No surprise. But the one that I have was like a golden yellow, and it's really cool, and it kind of inspired me to do a Wario design on it. So I'm really excited to show you guys what I've created, and yeah, let's do it. This is the Game Boy that we're going to be working with today. I picked this up on Facebook Marketplace. It's actually not bad. It's a little bit dirty. I've taken the batteries out. It does work. When we first got it, it actually didn't turn on, but after putting a little bit of alcohol, like rubbing alcohol with a Q-tip in the power space, it actually does turn on, which is sweet. I was going to be customizing it so I wasn't too hurt if it didn't turn on, and the price was right for me. So I actually did watch a video to take this apart as I started it to see if I had the right screwdriver. And then as it got going, I realized I didn't know what I was doing. So I'll link the video below that I used. It was really helpful, really straight to the point. So the screwdriver that I needed was this special one, which Colin had actually just ordered these, my partner, for taking apart a old GameCube that doesn't work. So it needed a special set of screwdrivers, including this little one and some other ones. But I believe this is really the main one that we're going to be using today. So let's take this apart. Also notice it is missing one, which isn't super important for what we're doing, but I might get one to replace that. Now we have those pieces off, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of spray paint on this. So I'm going to cover some important pieces that I don't want to cover with spray paint at all, like say this little piece up here, as well as I will cover the LCD screen in some painter's tape. But thankfully, like, this is why I wanted all the buttons out and everything, is I can spray and not worry about perfectly covering those. I'll probably put a little piece of tape in there just to stop it from going there. I'm not doing anything too intense. I just want to do a little bit of a color rejuvenation on this. So I like the yellow, but I want to do kind of like a reddish orange ombre at the bottom that kind of like goes up it and gives it kind of more of like a. And I did notice that it's a little bit dirty here and there, especially like around where like the buttons are. So I'm gonna clean that with some Q-tips, and I have some rubbing alcohol. I'm gonna clean it first, and then I will see you when we spray paint. So we're outside right now. We have taped off the screen and then taped off this little section here. I noticed it did have screws, but I couldn't find a screwdriver in time to pull them off, so I was like, this will just be good. And then we're gonna try, I've got a yellow, a red, and an orange. I wish I had kind of a reddy orange and I'd just try and do like an ombre going up, but I'm gonna see how close the yellow is to this. Also, it's not a very orangey yellow like this is. It looks a little bit more solid yellow, because this could use a little revamp as well, so it'd be nice to just do the little bit of yellow and do the little bit of orange, and I might use the red to make it a little bit redder. But yeah, we're gonna do that. I've got these little guys I'm gonna stand them up on. These are super cool to get if you like doing spray paint projects. They let you kind of get around the edges without having to worry about it sticking to the ground or like missing a piece because maybe like the fabric you're doing it on is covering it. But they are also the bane of my existence. And growing up using these, I have stepped on these, every corner of these, while like walking around the mat, and they've like one's still there and I'm like cleaning up or I'm currently spray painting, and they are so sharp and they absolutely gouge the crap out of your feet. So love them and hate them. If I recommend them and you like them and then you cut your foot open, not my fault. Let's get into the spray paint. I'm actually going to start with the back, just in case I don't like how anything goes. Also, it's like super nice out, so that is why we were doing it outside. So I'm going to go in with some of this to start to see. I'm going to put it on the bottom just to see if I like the color it is. I'm going to go in with the red first, really lightly, and see how that goes. I actually might separate them just, or line them up the exact same. And see if it kind of holds on to some of the yellow and makes it a little bit orange instead of solid red. And now these are pretty much to where I want them, so we will clean up out here and bring them into the studio and we will paint them. I'll see you there. So after spray painting, this is what we're left with. I'm actually really happy with it. A little worried about ripping this off. If it's gonna it was kind of caked in there. I did have the issue of taking this back off, but I got it off with minimal tear. Most of the tear was because it had leaked inside. And then when I was done and it dried, I went in with a matte medium for acrylic just to prime it to make it easier to paint on. And then this is the design that I came up with. So this is a full Wario themed design. I'm not 100% on whether or not I'm going to put the coins on. I have them stenciled out just in case, but I want to put the designs on first and see what I think. So I've got Wario there, and then on the back was the skull from Surf Island, from Wario Land. So I have stencils cut out, and I'm going to be stenciling them. I'm going to start with these, I'm going to paint them, and then I'm going to look at what the coins would look like on them and see if I still want to do them. So let's stencil. Let's see how this transferred on. Not bad. This one wasn't too bad to trace. This one was actually so much more detailed than I realized it was. It's pretty good as well. I also didn't realize, I went and looked at my design and I'm like, cool, I go onto that right there, which is going to be really hard to paint. But we're going to give it a shot. For how slippery this surface is, that was the best that these had ever traced over. I think that has to do with putting the acrylic primer on. Yeah, now we're gonna go in and start painting in the different sections. I don't think I'm gonna do a white background just so I can see all my detail one time and I don't have to retrace it. So I'm going to try and fill in these sections with the colors that I have created. Now that I've filled in everything with color, I'm gonna go in and line it with my Posca marker. And it's time for top coat. I'm using the same crystal clear Krylon top coat that I've used for other projects. And it turned out pretty well. I definitely wouldn't have done it in the cold. It definitely caused some cracking of the paint. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the outcome of it. I actually ended up bringing the end of this project, just piecing it back together at a little artist meetup in my local area with some people that I know. It's a cool thing that I've been trying to go to every week that they've started putting on. And I thought, why not bring this on the go? I usually just bring my iPad to draw because it's a lot easier. And it definitely is a lot easier, but it was cool putting this together there. I had a hard time paying attention to what I was doing. So I did piece it together wrong a couple times, including I never hooked the screen up and realized that when I got home and thought I broke it. But yeah, I peeled off the tape that I left. I definitely peeled off some paint that I didn't wish to, but overall it went fairly smooth. Now all that's left to do is to test out the game. I actually don't have Wario Land, but I do have this copy of Super Mario Land. So I popped that in, and after many failed attempts at turning it on, as I forgot was a thing having a Game Boy, it worked and it looked really cool. And here's the final results. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's going to be something super cool to put on our shelf, and I hope to find a purple Game Boy one day and do a Waluigi one. But overall, it was a really cool experience. I definitely learned some things to do and what not to do in the future when painting a Game Boy. And I'm excited to see if anyone wants me to do this for them and do some custom commissioned Game Boys and see what other cool designs we can create on them. Again, guys, thank you so much for checking this out. Thanks for hanging out with me while I created this super cool custom Game Boy. And hopefully I'll see you next week with a new video. Bye!